Hello, ladies and gents. I'm Becky Johnson with Sweetheart Quilt Design Company, and today we're going to talk about cutting your fabric. One of the very important things in quilting is cutting accuracy. So when you lay out your fabric, and I like to lay mine with the fold toward me, just seems to be a little straighter than the edges sometimes. And you want to make sure that these edges out here, the selvage edges, are either together or they can be off, but parallel. You can see how mine are parallel here. And then the fabric should lay smooth down here. If it's not laying smooth, you're going to have to pick up this edge up here and shift it one way or the other until this lays smooth. Now, the first thing we want to do is a cleanup cut. So I'm going to take this around. If you can walk around a table at home, that works too. Oh, one thing you notice is I have my mat upside down so you can't see the markings. That's because when you cut, the markings on your ruler are so much more accurate. They're thinner and the mat is pliable. So you're going to get much better cutting if you use your lines on your ruler. Now, the first thing we're going to do is a cleanup cut. We're going to straighten this. You can see these edges aren't together. And so I'm going to line up here with a line on the ruler. Don't try and line up with the edge of the ruler. It's an 1/8 inch acrylic and you'll never get it straight. But I'm going to line up with that. Now, you need to hold your ruler so it doesn't wiggle. If you put your hand here and you start cutting, by the time you get to this end, you'll have pushed the ruler that way. So a few different ways. You can notice that I don't have my whole hand on the ruler. That helps give it stability. You can cut a little ways and then move your hand and cut the rest of the way. One thing I like to do when I'm cutting with a long ruler like this is I'll just set my hand up here and then use my arm to hold it still. Now when you cut away from yourself for safety reasons and because you have more strength that way. And you want to do just a solid flowing motion. If you try and cut real slowly, you will just chop up the edge of your fabric. And you want to hold your cutter not straight up because that'll chew up the edge of your ruler, and not way down like this because you'll end up underneath the ruler, but just slightly to the right. So we're going to go ahead and do this. This is a 45mm ruler or cutter, which is the best size for general quilting. I like this particular cutter because you can just grasp it and the blade comes out, and then when you let go, the blade goes away, and you can lock it shut so it won't open. Don't do it in front of your 2-year-old. My granddaughter knew instantly how to lock and unlock the cutter. A lot of the cutters nowadays can just be flipped back and forth for left-handed. On this particular one, you take the pieces off and I line them up so I know exactly how they go back and just flip the cutter over so that the blade is on this side. If you're cutting left-handed, you want your blade next to the ruler. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just do quick follow through. You can train yourself to hear if you got all the way through the fabric. If you get little threads periodically that don't cut, or if you have trouble cutting and you have to press really hard, it's time to change the blade in your cutter. And don't let those go because you can actually ruin your cutter by not changing your blade often enough. Now with a big piece of fabric like this, if I take it and pick it up, somehow it won't be straight. So I'm going to take the mat and turn it back around again. When you cut from left to right, just like you read. So the bulk of the fabric is on the right-hand side. And that confused me a lot when I first started quilting. Now, if you're left-handed, everything is flipped the other way. So I have a quilt that I'm working on, where I need 2.5-inch strips. So this ruler, my favorite ruler, 8.5 by 24.5. It's a creative grid ruler, and it has this extra 1/2 inch on the side. So if I'm cutting 2.5, then I can go to, there's the 1/2, 1, 2. And I'm lining up on the edge of my fabric with the line just barely on the fabric, and then making sure I'm straight down here at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. Just pull my strip out of the way and line up again. And so I can keep cutting like that. If at any point in time the ruler, you can't get it lined up, just do another cleanup cut. With fabric, it is woven and sometimes it just gets a little off, and so you just do another cleanup cut, and there you have it. So that's what you need to do. You can cut all sorts of different things. If I wanted to cut 4-inch strips, I'd work from the other side of the ruler and cut my 4-inch strips. So thank you very much, and be sure and hit the like and the subscribe buttons, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.